So when we're trying to recreate objects in Fusion, we have to sort of break those objects down into their basic sort of primitive parts. So if I was creating a bolt, for example, what I'd need to do is break this down into its basic shapes. So basically there's one long cylinder, one long skinny cylinder, and then there's one big fat cylinder. So I have to create those two shapes before I can add the other detail elements to this design. So what I have to do in Fusion, I copy this design here. So I know the long skinny cylinder is 10 millimeters wide, 50 millimeters long. So when I create this sketch, I'm just going to draw a circle. It's going to be 10 millimeters. I'll finish that sketch. And then I'll extrude that 50. And then I'm going to build my short fat cylinder, so that's going to be 15 wide by 7 extrusion. So I'm going to start my sketch on the end. I'm going to build my circle, which is 15. And then I'm going to extrude that by 7. So now I've got roughly the right size and shape. I can add the other detail elements I need to this part. So it's about breaking your parts down into various smaller shapes and primitives, I guess we call them, to be able to create your object. And sometimes that will involve a number of different features to get there. Once I've got to this point, I'm going to use the Create Thread tool to create a thread on the end. And with this thread tool, it creates a sort of a texture they put on that surface to make it look like it's got a thread on it. You can choose to make that fully modeled, and then it actually cuts the thread into your part. You can also choose like the type of thread and the pitch of the thread, all those details. And you can also choose whether it's full length, whether it's only part way along. So for this one, I know this is 10 millimeters long, and there's the pitch of the thread. So it's an M10 by 1.5. On the other end of this, it's a bit of a tapered angle here. A few different ways I could go about doing that. I could do it as a revolve, so I could do it as a cut revolve. It's probably a little bit more work than it needs to be. The easiest way to do it is with a chamfer. So I choose the edge and I'll apply the chamfer too, and it works just like a fillet. I'd click on that edge and chamfer it, so it just puts a 45-degree angle on there. And the last part is we're going to cut this little socket hole here, so that's socket head. So it's an 8 millimeter diameter, distance across the face of the socket. So we're going to create a sketch on the end here, and we'll scroll down the list of various shapes I can create, and there's one there called polygon. I'm going to use a thing called a circumscribed polygon. Just click on that one. Click on the center of the shape, and then because it's 8 mil across, I need to create a 4 mil to the center. Finish that sketch, and then I can cut that in 5 millimeters. So you can see, if I play this back through, create a sketch, a couple of extrusions, one thread tool, one chamfer, and another cut extrude here to create this shape. In order to paint things, hit A on the keyboard, and that will bring up your appearance menu. And in here, there's a whole bunch of different materials you can use to paint your various objects. So you've got the option here to paint by a components or bodies or by faces. So for example, if I wanted to paint the whole body, I'm just going to drag gold onto this part. But if I wanted to have maybe the head a different color, I might go, let's go steel. So I apply the steel to the face. So I click face here. And we can paint different surfaces in different colors. Traditionally, we just want to keep the body painted in one color because every other part should have its own material associated with it, but it does give you the option to paint individual surfaces.